Azeth, a desert wasteland where each of you currently reside. And of the three of you, Shivers, we're going to start with you. Shivers, you awake to the taste of dirt in your mouth. Throat parched, sand clumped in your hair and parts of your fur where you've been sweating. You have a distinct and strange feeling of loss. You try to rack your brain about why, but you have nothing. You remember nothing. Looking around, you can see you at least have a tent over your head. You have a sword next to your bed. And staring back at you with kind of mismatched, soulless eyes is a stuffed bear.
Oh, God. He's in a tent? Okay, I'm in a tent.
Yes, you are in a tent.
Wow. Okay. Is there anyone around?
None that you know.
I suppose I'll probably just look around very confusedly for a minute.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess I know where this is.
It's a fairly regular standard tent for camping outside of the cities. It's not the most protective, it's not the fanciest for certain. But you can go ahead and look outside the tent as well. You kind of look out and you see an endless expanse of rocky sands ahead of you. Heat immediately bores down on your body. The horizon faded by sand, starting to get kicked up by winds, kind of blurred by heat. And you are completely alone.
He just stares out at the everywhere, at the all of this nothing in this direction.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just he's overwhelmed and confused.
Understandably.
He's like looking at into the tent and then back out, like somehow looking in there is going to provide a context clue as to what's happening. And then I suppose after a while he'll go back into the tent. What's he wearing?
Currently you are wearing a set of armor. Nothing too fancy, nothing too really well put together. It's a pretty regular kind of splint armor. You can see there's some metal bits that are kind of superimposed over some like hardier leather parts. You can see you've got just a bag kind of by your bed. Going through it, you can see you have basic adventuring supplies. You've got some hand axes, you've got a bow, you've got arrows, you've got a torch, and for all the luck you have some rations as well, and a water skin that's kind of 3/4 of the way full.
He will emphatically drink from the water skin. He's gotta be thirsty.
Yes, you are. You feel like your throat has just been scratched over and over and over by sandpaper.
Oh, God.
It is a very intense feeling of dehydration that has taken over your body. You, unable to really stop yourself, end up drinking the entire rest of the water skin.
Yeah. That's interesting. After a moment, he'll collect those things. He'll take the backpack, sling it over his shoulder, and then he'll take his weapon, do the same, and then he'll put the bear, like, in the crook of his armor over here by his neck and cover it with his hood.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming it's his, it might not even be his, but he'll take it regardless. And then
it's yours at the moment.
He'll leave the tent and then maybe go check around the other side of it. Maybe there's something else on the other side of it.
The other side, there's nothing. More tent, more rock, more sand.
He's just scratching his head. He'll look down at the bear for a second.
The bear stares back.
I don't suppose you know where to go.
There's no response from Vare.
Yeah.
For some reason, you feel yourself expecting a response, but no such response comes.
He'll just sort of stuff it further into his hood. You all right? And then, for better or worse, he'll just start walking.
You start walking.
Just pick a direction. He'll be yelling out the occasional hellos, you know. Is anybody there?
Overhead you hear a few bird calls, and you're not sure why you recognize in your name you associate them. You know that they're called vultures. Kind of large scavenging birds. They seem to have followed you. They're not picking at you or diving down or attacking you. They're just following. Perhaps attracted by the noise, perhaps hungry. But they're circling overhead, and you walk for the foreseeable future. And you continue into the desert. You continue, the sand and dirt kind of crunching under your boots. The bear, a steady yet silent companion as you make your way, and you start to see a speck off in the distance. Gets a little closer and closer, and you can see it's a little different than some of the other kind of geographic locations. You're not too far from the sea. You can see eventually at the very edge of your vision water, but something tells you it's not the kind you drink. But you continue, and the speck, not like any kind of rock formation or hill, gets larger. And I'm going to pan over for a moment. Ciaran, you have been on the road for quite some time now. The fading embers of your campfire illuminate dancing shadows in the early morning. Your small tent and temporary campsite kind of stick out like a sore thumb against the barren desert landscape. You set out a week ago from Crookstone, making your way south. Barren Sands is known as a place of trade and relative safety, at least comparatively. You've been on the road for the better part of 2 weeks, to be precise, by this point. You planned enough in advance to have food and water to last you the trip, as well as your trusted companion, Tegan. What you didn't quite account for is the lone yelling figure you see kind of just barely coming into your view. Sort of, you guess, probably like half a mile away. It's very far away, but this figure seems a bit lost, and kind of not moving like you see. You've encountered other travelers on your road. You've even had a run-in with some of the local wildlife, a few bandits that tried to get lucky. This doesn't seem like either of those.
He is going to very quietly put any valuables that are... he's going to quickly take his tent down, because it's probably his most valued possession at this point, and quickly try to hide it in one of the side saddles, or one of the side bags of Tegan's saddle, and then just take out his short bow, keep an arrow like half knocked, and watch this figure.
Yeah, you watch this figure, and they steadily get closer. Shivers, do you approach this strange kind of dot in the distance?
Yeah, probably he might even pick up pace a little bit at just the thought of seeing anything. The thought that this could provide any answer as to what is happening is greatly relieving. So he might even pick up his pace a little bit on the way.
Yeah, it's a good of an answer as any. So you head out and you start arriving. And as you approach Ciaran's camp, go ahead and describe for me what Ciaran would see.
Let me pull up the official little description here so I can get you all the best words. So Ciaran, stumbling towards him a little bit, you would see a scarlet-skinned hobgoblin. He's a little short, pretty skinny, a little too skinny to carry the armor and the weapon that he's carrying with him. But he seems to be carrying them quite well as he's, jogging towards you in a brisk pace. Splint armor, leather hood, there are bandages wrapped around underneath his bracers. It might be hard to tell when he's jogging towards you, but when he breaks down to a walk again, you can tell that despite the fact that it's broad daylight and it's incredibly hot outside, and he's in full splint armor to boot from head to toe, he is shivering like it's cold. And you can, I suppose the last thing you would see was a sort of a tuft of loose black hair hang out from underneath his hood.
When Shivers gets within a distance where he would be able to hear a voice at a slightly louder than normal volume, which I'm imagining is still pretty far away in a barren desert, unless it's really loudly gusting wind.
No, not that loudly.
That's close enough, and he pops the arrow up into a full knocked position.
Shivers will stop, and he'll just hold his hands up like he's being arrested.
Can I help you?
I suppose you can, sir. Do you know where we are?
We're in the middle of the wastes, about halfway between Crookstone and Barren Sands. Maybe a little bit closer to Barren Sands.
You're closer to maybe a day outside of Barren Sands.
Oh, wow. He made really quick time.
Yeah, you've been traveling for, 2 weeks. It's been a while since you've been in a city.
Gonna hold to that answer, yeah. We're in the wastes of Vizeth between Crookstone and Barren Sands.
Shivers lowers one of his hands to the back of his head to scratch a little bit, because he definitely has no idea what any of those places are. I promise I don't mean you harm, sir. I know I've got a large sword. I don't know if I can use it, to be honest.
You have a large sword, and you're sprinting at me in the middle of the desert first thing in the morning. My guard's up.
Well, I suppose that's only fair. What if I drop the sword?
I mean, why are you sprinting at me? Let's start there.
Well, I saw you from far away. I haven't seen anyone the whole journey.
The whole journey from where? What direction did he run at me from, Sydney?
So Shivers has been running from the I would say northwest-ish. And you have been traveling in the opposite direction.
Yeah, so he's basically running up from behind me. He's coming from this same direction I've been coming from, heading
Yes.
south.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you following me from Crookstone? And with that, he draws the arrow tight, like he's ready to fire.
No, sir. I don't know where Crookstone is.
He juts the bow like he's using it to point, and he points directly behind Shivers.
That's good.
About 2 weeks that way.
Well, I've only been travelling today, sir. It definitely wasn't 2 weeks.
Definitely wasn't just today. There's nothing a day that way. And again, he motions with the short bow. Nothing a day that way, but more sand. And then more sand beyond that, and then further, more sand. Who is this guy?
Well, down that way, and, a point from where he came, there's a tent. It might have been my tent, although I didn't bring it with me. So I suppose it's anyone's tent. But there's at least one thing out there now.
So,
For a moment, Shivers will be like, I should have brought it with me.
you just woke up in a tent. In
Yes,
the
sir.
middle of the driest desert on the planet. And decided to walk. In a
Well,
direction.
There wasn't anyone around, sir. So I thought it's either I walk, and I drank my whole water skin when I woke up. I found water, but well, there was the ocean. So
Yeah, way. And he points. He just gestures with his head, like behind him, because he knows that it's like about 2 days south.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm kind of at a loss, kid. Don't think you're trying to kill me.
I'm sorry, sir. I wish I had more. I don't know where I am. I don't know where anything is. Well, I know where Crookstone is, and I know where my tent is. But I only know where Crookstone is because she told me.
Genuinely don't know how to respond to that. And with that, he lowers his bow and arrow and pulls out a bottle of rum and takes a big swig, and then sees if Shivers is still there.
Shivers is still there, shockingly enough.
So you're real. You're not the desert.
You hear a whisper behind you, Ciaran. He's real.
Oh, God.
I wasn't talking to you, I was talking to him.
Does Shivers notice that? Does Shivers hear him say that at least?
You might see him turn his head like he's saying something to someone that's not there, but he probably whispers that.
Yeah. Okay. Shivers will angle his head like there's some person behind him that you can't see.
Yeah, you don't see any other person with Ciaran.
Talk to his donkey.
Just there with his hands up.
Do you know how to use that sword?
I don't know, sir, to be honest. I don't even know if it's mine. I don't know if any of this is mine. Although the armor fits.
Well, the armor looks like it was made to fit you. I'm assuming it's yours. You don't just take split armor and have it fit you perfectly. Do you know how to use your sword or not, kid?
I don't know, sir. All I did was pick it up when I woke up to start walking.
This
I could
conversation
try.
is against what? I'm not gonna let you come at me with a sword. For all I know, you will kill me and take Tegan.
Well, I didn't plan to hit you with it. I just thought, I could hold it and do a swing over here or something.
He slowly brings the bow and arrow back up, and it's like, if you want to give it a try, go for it, but if you come at me, it might be the last thing you do.
Tegan the donkey makes a braying noise. Thank you, Jeff.
Well, to be courteous, Shivers will take the stuffed bear and just place it in the sand behind them, and then he'll give his best try. He'll unsheath the sword, hold it in his hand, and just sort of do what he thinks you should do with it. Use it as one would use a sword.
Just go ahead and roll a general attack, just to see how well you handle it in that moment.
Shivers, don't muck it up. You have to make a good impression, or else you'll die before the session won't even start.
That's a nat 20.
That is.
That's a nat 20.
Shivers, this sword feels like an extension of your arm. You unsheath it, and immediately a sense of kind of familiarity washes over you. Your muscle memory kicks in, and you know exactly how to handle it. You're not sure how. You're not sure why. A minute ago, you wouldn't have even thought that you could. But you handle it with ease and finesse. For a great sword. Which is definitely worthy of some praise, because that massive sword feels like it weighs nothing to you.
Before the attack, Shivers will just sort of he can already feel that familiarity, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
When he's holding it in both of his hands out in front of him. And he just takes a moment to just sort of wash in that feeling of familiarity before just sort of doing an attack against the air. And I think it's less of the attack and more of just the slash is casual, and it's more or less that after the slash, sort of Ciaran can see Shivers moving this blade around in his hands and flipping it over, and he looks familiar with it. Yeah. He looks like he's been using it for years.
Ciaran probably recognizes somebody who has been trained in swordplay and just immediately recognizes that he knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And is just alright, you seem to know your way around a sword.
That was exciting.
I like to travel at night because it gets very hot during the day. I had just set up my tent before you started sprinting at me. I'm going to set up my tent again, wait till dusk, and then start heading toward Barren Sands. If you would like to stay, and if something were to try to attack me, or someone would try to attack me, in exchange for 5 silver, would you like to protect me?
Sure.
You know what silver is, right? You said, you've never heard of good exchange for services before.
You haven't.
Know what silver is?
No, you have no idea.
I don't really know what silver is, no, sir.
Money. You are...
hell does Shivers know what money is?
Not really. No.
Oh, no, it's so much worse than I thought.
He takes a big swig of rum. Like, it's longer than most people drink from a bottle of beer or wine. He's just like... Alright.
Shivers looks back to the bear. He goes to pick it up too, but he looks back to it. He's going to pick it up. I think I embarrassed myself.
As you're kind of walking with the bear, the head kind of bobs, almost like it's nodding.
Where are you going?
Well, I was coming over to you. Well, I had to pick him up first, and he'll just sort of... he'll pick up the stuffed bear and, wave it towards him.
You are traveling in the desert.
Yes, sir.
With no food.
Oh, no, I have rations.
Okay, with some food, but no water.
When I woke up, I was really parched. I couldn't stop myself. Drank all of it. It was like my mouth was on fire.
Like I said, we're probably a couple of days out of Barren Sands. You're going to need somewhere to get away from the sun. And it's about to get very hot in about an hour or so. For exchange for a spot in my tent, you protect me from anybody that tries to kill me. Until you're bored of me, or until I'm bored of you, and then we part ways. Does that sound like a plan?
Yes, sir.
And if you try to kill me, I will kill you.
Shivers will just sort of nod at that one.
And he looks dead serious. He looks like behind the eyes there is nothing. Right. I'm gonna get some food together. And, without another word, Ciaran will go back to setting up his tent and getting some food together and getting that fire back up for, preparing food.
Mm-hmm. Easy enough. You've been doing it for a few weeks now. You know the drill.
Because I imagine, as somebody that grew up in Crookstone, which is, close to water, but still a few days travel from water, it's, at that border of desert. He knows that you should really only travel, for a few hours during the day.
Yep.
And then a few hours pre-dawn, and a few hours at night, and otherwise you should try to stay away from the sun or the freezing cold.
Yeah. Which, this is all knowledge that you can impart to Shivers. As you guys kind of settle in for a little bit of a rest. Yeah. Easy enough.
Yeah.
Your camp is established.
For the most part, Ciaran does stay quiet. Occasionally, Shivers might hear him whisper something to himself, but he's mostly just establishing a camp and getting a nice buzz going.
Shivers, for his part, probably asked Ciaran what money was. Because that is important. It seems important.
What does he say?
I suppose while he's just sitting there, he'll... Yeah, as Ciaran's setting up the tent, he'll just look at him and... Yeah. You mentioned silver earlier, sir. Why would you give it to me for helping you?
Alright, we really need to set a baseline here. I need to know where you're from.
Well, I'm sorry, sir, but I don't remember. Well, I mean, from today, I was from my tent over there.
I'm still, that baseline is hard to work with. So, You woke up in a tent. Do you know when? Do you have a name?
I think it's Shivers, sir.
Apropos.
What did you say?
Apropos. That means that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
I am Ciaran.
Good to meet you, Mr. Ciaran.
Silver is a metal.
Sorry, what was that? You cut out a little bit.
I said silver is a metal that is fashioned into small circles, and he pulls out a silver that can be exchanged for a good or a service.
Alright.
You're thirsty. You need water. You go to somebody that sells water. You give them some amount of money. And he pulls up the silver. And in return, they give you water. And then they take that silver, and they need to eat. So they go to the butcher, give them the silver for meat. And then he gestures in the, like, does that make sense kind of motion?
Well, I only have two questions, sir. That makes sense. But I can just get water on my own if I find water, yeah?
Sure. But if the water belongs to somebody else, and you need it, you need a way to get it from. You could just take it, but then they might hurt you.
And then, well, I suppose it's a problem, but I have small circles, but I don't have silver ones.
Let me see what you have.
Shivers will just hand him the coin pouch. It's like, if he wants to be semantic about it, it's 105 gold coins. But if he doesn't, it's enough gold for like 2 full handfuls.
Ciaran just stops dead in being handed more gold than he's ever seen in his life.
Oh yeah, that's a lot. Like an abnormal amount to someone like you, Ciaran. This is not normal.
Yeah, that's like a year's worth of his wife's salary.
Yep. Easily.
He makes like he goes to start talking like 2 or 3 times, like the goldfish mouth just.
Are you alright, sir?
Yeah. Yeah. Big drink.
Yep.
Where'd you get this?
I just had it when I woke up in the tent.
How far is this tent?
You were walking for a few hours, Shivers.
I was walking for a while. About a few hours.
Was there anything else in that tent?
There was my armor, and the little stuffed bear, and my sword, and me, and my backpack.
Did you leave anything in the tent?
A bed? No, sir. I left the tent.
That was a really bad decision. Going to be honest with you, that was a terrible decision.
I thought about it, sitting here. When I left, I had a headache, and I thought the tent looked rather heavy. I thought I could always come back for it.
This is a lot of money.
So that is silver then?
No. There are, as far as I know, there's technically 4, but there's really only 3 that people use. There's copper, silver, gold. Certain amount of copper equals 1 silver. Certain amount of silver equals 1 gold. This is a lot of gold. Where did you find this?
In my tent.
Really have no idea what to say to him. How old are you?
I don't know, sir.
Could probably guess Shivers looks to be about an adult, but exact age, hard to tell.
Like, could I eyeball, like, young adult, full-grown man? Like, am I talking to, like, a 16-year-old or, like, a 30-year-old?
You're talking to somebody who is within his 20s. Where exactly? That's a mystery. But you could probably guess he's within that decade.
Kid, you woke up in a tent
He's nodding.
with full splint armor, a sword worth probably about as much as my donkey, and more gold than I have ever seen in my life. This is what you're telling me.
Yes, sir. Is there something wrong with that?
Is there some... There's nothing right about that.
Shivers looks a little disappointed because he doesn't get the optics of why this is wrong or not.
I've been traveling for fucking 2 weeks with barely enough food to eat, measuring my water, and just enough rum to keep a buzz. After starving for years, and you wake up with 200 gold in your fucking pocket.
Well, you're free to have some if you like.
He takes a handful of gold and puts it in his pocket.
How much does the handful translate to?
I'm gonna roll a dice.
I was gonna say, yeah, you can roll for it if you want.
1d... We'll say 5 times 1d6.
Yeah, that works.
30 gold.
Let's go!
Grabs
Hell
as
yeah.
much as his hand can muster. You can now add that gold into your inventory.
I already have.
Thinking about it, sir, I need... You said I need shelter, right?
Yes.
And shelter is a service, so I paid for service, yeah?
He kind of gives, like, a half-hearted, I guess, gesture. Like, yeah, sure, that makes some sense. But
Right.
he's still just, like, bowled over by everything that's happened.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot.
Need some food. We'll probably head out as soon as the sun crests past, and he points to just a spot near the horizon. Once the heat breaks, we'll start traveling, and then we'll stop again when it gets too dark to see.
Alright.
Yeah.
Thank you for the spot, Mr. Ciaran.
He just nods.
Yeah, and as conversation lulls and you guys get settled into camp, you guys are able to rest through the worst part of the heat of the day. It does get pretty bracing there for a while, but with the tent, with the shelter, and with
Ciaran
past
sets up the
experience.
tent. Yeah, Ciaran sets up the tent in a way to be more of like a lean-to almost. so as to not create that insular heat of an inside place would, but just to like shade from the sun.
Yeah. Shade is provided, but there's enough like moving air. It doesn't just trap it all within your tent and like suffocate you. Several hours pass. You guys are able to kind of wait out the worst of it, and as the kind of worst heat of the day comes to pass, I'm actually going to change the scene here a little bit. With the two of you kind of getting ready to set forth towards Barren Sands. Jasminder, you've been going about your day helping out at the sanctuary. It's been about as busy as it usually is, and you've been helping the other clergy at the Shepherd's Sanctuary with a food drive. You know that sometimes, a few times a month, several of the vendors from the market district kind of get together and donate what food they can to kind of offer to the temple, to offer to those who are less fortunate. It's not a lot, not everybody participates, but it's enough that it does in fact make a difference. So you've taken some time out of your day to go help with this. You're still getting used to living alone. It definitely helps to spend time at the temple as you have been. Makes your home feel a little bit less empty. But you don't look back on it with any kind of bitterness. It's more just kind of a longing to return to what was. But it's kept busy enough. By the food drive currently happening, you are passing out what seems to be some kind of big, meaty stew. The meat is good. That it comes from a livestock farm just kind of outside of town a little ways. And you are currently spooning the stew into bowls as some of the homeless from the city come in.
Jazz is gonna make sure she fills bowls for children first, and she'll move.
Yeah, you definitely take time to make sure. There are several kids that come through the line, and they kind of offer you kind of toothy, innocent smiles, very grateful nods, and you can see behind them their parents giving you a very tired yet grateful look.
For the parents, can Jazz grab some cups, start pouring? Like, she's got a jug of wine. Can she just pouring?
They accept it
rationing
gladly.
The wine.
Oh yes,
the adults.
They are incredibly grateful. As you hand them the wine, many of them kind of offer you praise. Some are more silent and reserved about it. Others are a little more shocked that you are being so kind, but they definitely will not rebuke it. And you see next to you one of the other clergy of the sanctuary, tall, kind of broad-shouldered orcish woman, kind of bumps your shoulder. You're being too kind to them. Now they're never going to leave.
And why should they? It's so harsh out. At least in here, they can have mediocre wine and fairly delicious stew.
That is true. True. Can't really fault them for it. It's rough out there. But appreciate you coming out to help today, Jazz.
Anytime. I like being here. It's better.
Well, it certainly goes a long way. I know there's only really a few of us that are here full time, but volunteering here, it really really helps out.
Is there anything else you need me to do right now? I have all day, honestly.
Well, aside from this, and you guys have been kind of going through this food drive for about half the day, kind of since midday hit, and the sun really kind of started to reach like peak heat for the day. You guys kind of had an influx of people looking to get out of the sun, get out of the heat, and now it's not quite dusk, but it's definitely starting to kind of reach past that afternoon high point. And the orcish woman kind of looks over and kind of eyes the line that's been steadily moving. And it's definitely, it's not super long at this point. There's still some people there, but it's not near as busy as it has been. She kind of gives a nod. Well, things are starting to settle down a little bit, it looks like. If you wanted to continue to help, of course we'd accept it. We might get some... what do we need? And she kind of turns to an elder dwarven woman who's kind of taking a plate of what looks like bread behind her. Do you know... And she kind of thinks for a moment. Is there anything that we're missing at the moment? No, I don't think so. We've got everything. Well, no, actually. And, she'll kind of pull out a piece of paper and write up a list. Just a few things here and there around the temple. Could really help. And Our Lady Perdita would appreciate it. And she kind of gives a bow, and the orcish woman is just like, great, cool, thanks. So, yeah, looks like we could probably use candles. Why can't she just go out and get them herself? She kind of shakes her head. Tiny errands. I don't imagine it would take you more than 15 minutes once we finished up here. If you want to help out, that would be great. I know I'm probably going to go check in on a few of the patients that we have here. Usually they go over to Maisie's clinic, but it's so weird. She hasn't been taking patients the past few days. So they've come here. So I guess we're going to have to figure out how to heal people. So if you come across any supplies in the market, we could really use some help around here.
Understood. I will, and she'll just take the list of things. I will go ahead and I can get all this done quickly.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure with, and as you guys have kind of continued to serve the food as time has gone on, and now there's really only like a couple families left. She doesn't really like it if I'm running late. She's probably expecting me to go get it, but I think I'm going to make sure that these guys are taken care of. If you could look after that list and just grab a few things, that would be really appreciated, Jazz.
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and get started on it now. You're taking over this?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
And she's going to go ahead and head off, but she's going to grab a few pieces of bread and kind of like put it in her bag first.
Oh yeah, easy enough. There's a lot of bread. It's usually what you guys have extra of.
Yeah, she'll grab about 4 pieces of bread then, just in case there's any people who didn't come to the temple and they need.
Yeah, and that typically happens. You know that kind of the sanctuary that you work at is kind of situated between the market and the housing district, and it's typically where a lot of the homeless are, kind of stuck somewhere in between. They stay closer to the market district in the hopes of charity, but a lot of them also kind of stay near the housing district because it tends to be just a little bit safer as far as parts of the city go. It's a fine line. But yes, you are able to make your way over to the market. It's bustling, it's busy. Kind of as things are starting to cool off with midday, that's usually when things start to pick up, when most people go for getting food, for getting clothing, trading other items, their goods for the day. And you start going down the list, and there are a lot of inane items like candles, cooking supplies, extra like robes for whatever reason. You gather that maybe they've made some new followers at the sanctuary. As you know, the sanctuary to Perdita, there is really only one in Barren Sands. It's the largest, dedicated to the shepherd goddess, who offers succor to those who are in need most. But yeah, you're able to kind of make your way around getting different supplies. And as you do so, I'm actually going to pan over Shivers and Ciaran. You guys, at this point, have been traveling for a while, since we last left off. You guys had picked up traveling once the sun had gone down. You had waited a bit, and then continued on. And it is about this time that you have made your way into the city. And you were in the city. You were free to walk around and explore.
First thing Ciaran's going to do is find somewhere to get a drink.
There's a lot of places to get drinks. Are you taking Shivers with you?
If Shivers is following.
Oh, Shivers is absolutely following. Whatever this big wood maze is, very scary.
Mm-hmm. Which you guys do, before getting into the gates, have to pass through security. You do run into a couple individuals standing by one of the gates. You can see that they're dressed in kind of nicer leather armors. You can see there's kind of silver, like a silver sash across their chest. Each of them.
Ciaran recognize that?
Yes, you would recognize that as the Silver Watch.
He, much like his art, pops his hood up.
Yeah.
Like, just immediately as soon as he sees that this is a Silver Watch city, the hood goes up and the head goes facing downwards.
Yeah. Shivers, you're not sure what this means, but it looks like they have nice armor and weapons.
Can Shivers tap on Ciaran's shoulder? Are you called Mr. Ciaran?
No.
Why have you all bundled up then? Oh shit, did that go through?
Yeah, no, it did. He just inhaled deeply. And
Oh, okay.
Kid, just don't ask questions like that right now.
Alright.
Oi, you two. What's your business in the city?
Trade.
I'm just following Mr. Ciaran.
My bodyguard.
What's your business?
Trade.
He seems kind of the taller of the two individuals. Kind of seems to look you over a moment. Kind of not totally sure that you're telling the truth.
So man, I've got a donkey full of meat. I, Jeff, don't know what kind of stuff he would be hunting out in the desert, but I assume there is some kinds of stuff.
Yes, there are lots of, there are beasts to hunt. Pelts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've picked up any manner of things. And at pointing out your donkey, he does kind of look over, and he kind of jerks his head for the other guard, who kind of rolls his eyes, and will go over and check your donkey over your supplies. Just kind of do not a full like shakedown or anything, just making sure that you're not like smuggling illegal goods or drugs.
Is the city closed?
No, just got got our orders to be on guard, just in case.
I want somewhere to sleep that isn't a fucking tent. I want a drink. And I want to trade some furs for some pelts for some more drink. Is that a good answer? Can we go?
Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
Persuasion. That is a 16.
Okay. At your answer, and the guard that had been looking over your donkey kind of gives a nod. Then he'll tap the hilt of his sword to the gate, and it will open. Go on through. Just being cautious.
Without making eye contact or saying another word, Ciaran goes in.
Shivers will slightly hang behind, and he'll look at the watch member that was talking to us. Well, more to Ciaran.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, sir.
What do you
Is
want?
opening this gate a service?
Yes.
Shivers will just open his sack of gold. Mr. Ciaran says that you exchange money for services and goods.
His eyes go wide, seeing the money pouch.
Ciaran is so angry.
He'll
much?
wait for the man. He'll wait for the man. Ciaran took the amount of money that Shivers
you're just
assumed
holding out?
was right for the service.
He just takes the pouch.
All right, hell yeah.
He just takes the pouch, and he's struck speechless as he looks over his shoulder as you guys enter the city.
Ciaran stops for a moment. How many guards are there?
There's 2 outside the city by the gate, and then you can see there's also one on the inside of the gate. Kind of watching the inside, just keeping watch over the city.
He does the mental math. Sighs. And keeps walking into the city.
Okay, and you guys head into the city. Ciaran, you haven't been to Barren Sands before. And Shivers, you have no idea of anything that's going on in the city. But, Jasminder, you've completed most of the list of, the grocery list that the clergy had sent you out with. And, you look up and see, Shivers and Ciaran. And Ciaran, you described yourself, yes?
I don't think I did, actually.
He's not.
Oh, so yeah, go ahead and describe your character, Jeff.
Ciaran is a human man, probably late 30s or early 40s. He has shaggy brown hair that looks like it's in need of a wash, as well as a relatively tame beard, but also very dirty. He's wearing leather armor that kind of looks like it's fraying and tattering, and is covered in mud stains and maybe some other stains that are kind of reddened. He has a shawl that is fashioned into a little bit of a light scarf with a hood to keep the sun out of his head, like off his head, but still being loose enough and light enough to not make him sweat all that much. On his belt, he has a very old-looking short sword on one side, and on the other side, a rapier that looks like it's a little bit above his station. Like, it looks almost the quality of the swords that the guards were wielding, and on his back is a short bow with a quiver next to it, and he is just walking with his hood up and his head down, mumbling to somebody, pausing like he's hearing a response, and then mumbling back to them. As Shivers follows behind him. And he's got his donkey Tegan on the one side, who is just a tan donkey with with saddlebags on the other side, carrying a bunch of stuff.
Right, and Jasminder, feel free to describe yourself as well.
So she's definitely going to approach the scruffy person who looks like they're intentionally trying to hide themselves. Because why wouldn't Ciaran and Shivers, you see this woman, dark skin, about average height, start walking up to you. She's got this long braid that kind of slings over her shoulder and stops at her waist. She's wearing like it's not super gaudy. It's as low-key as she can do. It's like a sari. It's purple with like gold accents and little bits of pink and blue in it. She's got like the one strip of white hair going through her braid and the bluest eyes you have ever seen in your life. They damn near look like they glow. They're so blue. And she starts approaching Ciaran and Shivers.
I'm so sorry, but Ciaran does not stop walking unless he is dressed.
She's going to probably make a mistake here. She is just going to put her hands on his chest and be like, "Hey!"
Oh, what the fuck?
Sorry.
And his hand immediately goes towards one of his swords. Like, he doesn't draw it, but, stop suddenly like that. He just goes for a weapon.
You're fine. I'm not gonna hurt you. You seem like, maybe you need help looking for something. Are you new to the town?
Just looking for a place to get a drink, lady.
Okay, I can help you with that. My name's Jasminder. I usually help out at the sanctuary. We just had a food drive. I can take you by there if you want. We can get you some food. I have extra clean clothes on my person. Oh, here. She'll also just hand him some bread. I have bread.
He takes a huge bite out of the bread.
There's more where that came from, and she's just gonna like lean to the side and look at Shivers. Would you like bread?
He's probably gonna tell you he doesn't know what bread is. He mumbles to himself.
I have to follow it up. I don't know what that is, ma'am. Is
Okay.
it a good or a service?
By the way, Shivers, you definitely know what bread is.
Oh,
Like,
fuck, I
you
know
can
what bread is.
you can see that it's food, and you know that it's food.
Oh, he did eat it.
Yeah, you.
Okay, yeah, he did. I didn't even think about that. Ciaran did eat
Previously
it
had
before that.
bread.
He will. Okay, then ignore that. But he will ask if it's a good or a service.
It is a good, but this is a good that I'm giving you.
But earlier today, Mr. Ciaran told me you have to exchange money for goods and services.
Alright, we need to talk about this real quick. Jasminder, can you point me to the nearest alleyway, just somewhere I could speak to my associate alone?
You guys are like right next to an alleyway.
I'm his
She
bodyguard.
just points to the right.
He grabs just whatever scruff of Shivers that he can find. Like his hood, his collar, his arm, whatever, and bodily drags him into that alleyway.
Shivers will come on. He won't resist it.
and then shove him up against the wall. You need to cut this shit out.
What are you talking about, Mr. Ciaran?
First of all, the Mr. Ciaran bullshit has got to stop. It is just Ciaran.
Alright.
Secondly, can't believe I have to explain this to a fucking adult. You just painted a target on us bigger than the fucking sands itself by handing a fucking silver watch person more gold than they've ever seen in their life. And now you're ready to do it again to this stranger. And he gestures out into the alley where I assume Jasminder is watching all of this happen.
She just waves.
Do you have any more coin on your person?
No, sir.
At least there's fucking that. So you can't do that again.
But I thought you said that you have to pay for goods and services. And the guardsman said opening the gate was a service.
You can't be this fucking stupid.
Jasminder's gonna walk down the alley and kind of like tap on Ciaran's shoulder.
Yes. Oh god, you're actually somebody's there. What?
I don't mean to eavesdrop. Are you in need of money?
Almost always.
I heard Silverwatch took your money. I can help you. How much did you lose?
Silverwatch didn't take my money so much as he gave all of his money to the Silverwatch because he somehow doesn't fucking understand what money is.
I thought I did understand what money was, though, because you explained it to me earlier.
I wasn't an alcoholic before today. Already.
Let's get you both back to this. I get the feeling you might need to just sit for a while, eat. Maybe that will make you less grouchy, and
nothing is going to make me less grouchy, lady. Jasminder, I'm sorry. I should at least call you by your name.
I appreciate that. Maybe not less grouchy, but maybe dial the grouch back a little.
Grouchy with food in my stomach?
Yeah.
We could start there. But Shivers. There is only you have now you have zero money. But normally people have a finite amount of money. So they only give how much they are charged for certain goods and services.
He didn't give me a number, though.
Because there are some goods and services, like a guard opening a fucking door, that don't cost money.
Alright, how would
If
you
somebody-
tell the difference?
Somebody will tell you when they owe you money, or when you owe them money for a good and or service.
Alright.
If they don't tell you an amount of money, just assume that it's free until they do.
Alright. So should I go ask for it back then, Mr. Ciaran?
You probably should not do that. We just got here, do not want to fight the Silverwatch.
They're talking and just putting coins into a small pouch. She is specifically putting 20 gold and 10 silver into a pouch. Would like to sneak it onto Shivers.
Make a sleight of hand check. And Shivers, go ahead and make me a perception check.
I was gonna say,
Can I
this is
also
like
make a
bit-
perception check?
Yes, you may.
That is a 21 for Ciaran.
14 for Shivers.
And 11. 11
Dani.
sleight of hand.
Oh,
So
what?
yes, you both see her go to try and sneak the gold into Shivers' pouch.
Yeah, real. Ciaran keeps his mouth shut. He doesn't say a word.
Are you trying to give me something, Miss Jasminder?
You lost all your money, so I was just gonna give you a little extra. It's not much, so definitely don't just give it away. But if you do need things, this is for you to get those.
He walked up to me in the middle of the desert with more gold than I've ever seen in my life, and had no idea what the fuck it was.
Are you... And she's speaking to Shivers. You have no recollection beyond when?
Beyond... I want to say this morning, but I don't know if it was morning or not. The sun was up.
It was a little after dawn that he approached me.
Right.
Walks up to me in fucking well-made splint armor with a giant sword and a goddamn teddy bear and a pocket full of gold.
Well...
I know my name, though. And after today, I know that you exchange money for goods and services, but sometimes goods and services are free, and that it's dangerous to travel all day, so you travel when the sun is just coming up and just coming down. So that's at least 3 things.
And I'm so sorry, I didn't get your name.
Ciaran.
Right. And you are... Just looking at Shiver.
That's
My
Shivers.
name? I'm Shivers, yeah.
Shiver. Okay.
He is shivering.
Uh,
Also.
She's gonna pull a blanket out of her bag and just wrap it around Shivers. So...
What's your deal?
I'm sorry?
What are you doing?
I'm being kind.
Yeah, that doesn't happen a lot in this Seth. So what's your game?
I like being kind. It makes me feel better.
Was you giving me this a good or a service?
Go find a drink, and he just walks off.
She's just gonna stay close to Shivers. And just start pointing in the direction of the sanctuary.
Ciaran, go ahead and make a perception check.
As a 16, 11 plus 5.
You do notice, as you leave the alleyway, somebody just kind of walks away a little bit too close from, like, where they would have been if they were just passing through the crowd. But close enough that they might have just been lingering a little bit close to where you guys were talking. And is just kind of casually walking off.
Was he or she dropping some eaves?
Perhaps. Looks like they could have been, but hard to be sure.
Ciaran's just paranoid enough. He is going to try to follow this person and see where they're going.
Okay.
Oh, and we're losing him. Okay.
I should probably go with him, Miss Jasminder. I'm his bodyguard.
I should probably go with you. Let's go.
Don't
So,
follow.
Ciaran, I need you to make a stealth check, and then if either of you two are being stealthy as you follow Ciaran, I need you guys to make a stealth check, or you can just follow.
I'm so fucking sorry. I mean,
So not being stealthy.
yeah, he doesn't even fucking know what's happening.
I don't understand why I would need to be stealthy.
That's a 13. Ciaran is being stealthy because
Ciaran
he
is. Yeah, Ciaran,
Or
you
he's
just.
trying to be stealthy. He's probably bumping into a few people with the 13.
Yeah, you bump into a few people, but as you're doing the Assassin's Creed walk in the crowd sneak, kind of like blending in, the other two are just sort of like very obvious, like very ostentatiously sticking out of a crowd and noticeable, and also following you almost directly, not 15 feet behind you.
Does he still have eyes on the person that he's following?
Yes, you do. Let me just go ahead and make a quick roll for them. Ooh, okay. You do turn a few corners, following them, and after the second corner you cross, they're gone.
Any chance to pick them up again?
Go ahead and make an investigation check. As you kind of follow them down an alley, and Jasminder and Shivers, you guys can kind of come up while Ciaran's investigating to see if there are any signs of where this person went. And unfortunately, with the 15, you aren't able to quite see where their trail might lead.
Jasminder is explaining currency to Shivers and bumps into Ciaran. Oh, I'm so sorry. Where are you going?
Somebody was listening to us talk in the alley. I'm pretty positive of it. Do you have enemies in this town?
Do I have enemies?
Yes. Do you have enemies in this town that we should be aware of if we're being seen with you in public?
Jasminder, you do not. Not that you know of.
Does the pretty lady who gives out free food, clothing, and money have enemies? I should think not.
Somehow you are only the second weirdest thing to happen to me today.
Did they leave something on the ground, Mr. Ciaran?
Not that I can see.
Can Shivers check?
Yeah, go for it. Roll investigation.
Investigation.
Yeah.
I don't see jack shit.
You see a
That is a 3.
You see a paper wrapper that somebody left behind, probably of walking or like a street taco. It's just left on the ground. There's like a little bit of food on it. You're kind of like, whoa, that's weird. Why is there just paper on the ground?
Shivers will point at it. What is that, Mr. Ciaran?
Garbage. A meal.
Is that theirs?
A meal if you're desperate, but otherwise garbage.
That's food down there.
Yes, like I said, a meal if you're desperate, otherwise garbage. If
Why
Jasminder hadn't just
desperate?
Just looks to Jasminder, she's completely defeated.
Is it a good or a service to pick it up?
Sorry.
Jasmine's just gonna pick it up off the ground. She's just gonna crumple it up and put it inside of a little pouch on her hip.
Jasminder performing community service. She is just actually too good for this
Shivers
world.
will thank you for not. Well, he won't, because he doesn't know that this would give him horrific food poisoning. But I'll thank you for not giving him horrific food poisoning.
Okay.
Ciaran is literally just lightly banging his head into the wall.
Yeah.
He's probably hearing whispers.
Oh, he's hearing them all right, and they're saying all sorts of things.
And is dealing with this.
Can Shivers take the blanket and place it between his head and the wall?
I feel as though you're looking for trouble where there is none. I don't know. I don't know you that well, but
Somebody
I have things to do.
Okay, go do them. Thank you for your help.
You've never been hugged before, huh?
I've been hugged many times in my life. He
Not
says,
enough.
just staring past her.
Not enough, it seems. So she's just gonna scribble the directions to the sanctuary on a piece of paper. Here you go. whenever you decide to stop running down alleyways and looking for things that aren't there, and if you decide to stop being grumpy enough to, just have some free fucking food, this is where you can get that.
I am all about. I'm sorry I was rude to you. I'm all about getting some free food. But we were being listened to, and I don't know why. And in a city of snakes, like the Silver Watch, that fucking scares me.
I didn't say anything illegal. You didn't say anything illegal. I don't think Shivers knows what is illegal. So
I don't know if Shivers knows what law is.
I don't.
the most they heard is that Shivers is bad with money. Nothing crazy.
How many times have you seen people with power make trouble where there was none?
About as often as I've seen people without power make trouble where there is.
So a lot, then, I would imagine. I understand that I am not being kind, but I also understand when I am being watched, or at least I like to think so. Would you mind taking us to your temple for some food? It's been a very long day.
I'm almost tempted to wait until you apologize, but I
I'm
feel like...
fucking sorry.
Oh.
I have no problem apologizing when I'm an asshole. I do it a lot.
That was surprising. Follow me. I should just start heading towards the sanctuary.
I made Jasminder curse in the very first session.
You did.
Hearing her say fucking was the scariest thing I've ever experienced.
It really was.
In which they both Shivers and Ciaran know they fucked up. But yeah, no, Jasminder, you were able to lead them back to the temple where you run into Ruaz, the orcish woman priestess that you were talking with earlier, and she looks a little confused as you bring more people, but she doesn't seem to complain. And she just kind of gives you a wave. The food drive isn't completely over, but it doesn't look like there's anybody like currently like rushing for food right now, and she kind of waves you guys over.
Sorry.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Did you
Lady.
do you call her pretty lady?
No, not at all, no. She's definitely gonna she's been running around the town now thanks to someone, so she's definitely gonna smooth out her clothes and tuck her hair behind her. And as she is her.
You made some friends.
Yes. This one is grouchy and in need of food. This one is in need of absolutely anything and everything.
The
That-
grouchy one.
A broad description that I'm just gonna start you guys with some soup. It's not a lot, but we have a little bit from the food drive, and she's kind of pouring out a couple of bowls for you guys. Are you guys new in town?
Listen through.
Right.
I think so.
She kind of gives Shivers a curious look. You made some interesting friends.
Yeah, I suppose I did. I'm gonna go get the wine.
Thank you. Yeah. It kind of looks like the two of you could go for some wine. You look like you've been through hell.
Just
Multiple
a day in
times.
the desert.
Is that out in the desert? Is that in the wastes?
Yes.
She
Yes, Shivers. Just nod, lady. Just nod.
She just kind of nods and blinks, very confused.
I'm Ciaran.
Nice to meet you, Ciaran. And
I'm Shivers.
Shivers. I'm Ruaz, priestess of Perdita. We are the...
Raz, I'm gonna ask you a question that is going to sound incredibly rude, and I apologize in advance for that. However,
Go for it. Sure.
does your temple have any enemies in the city?
Enemies? That's
Yeah.
none that I know of. We
The
are...
watch is cool with you guys just flaunting religion.
They don't really have an issue with us preaching about our mistress, our shepherd. Well, they don't seem to take issue with it. They are content to leave us be, and we leave them be. They haven't gotten into our business, we haven't gotten into theirs, so to speak. I'm not sure why they would even get into our business. We actually offer quite a bit to the city.
Well, I was having a conversation with my companion here and your friend Jazz, and I'm 90% sure somebody was listening to it that was actually there. And then they were gone.
Her brows kind of furrow.
That's going to shake me until I find out what they were doing.
Well, I'm not sure if I can speak to exactly what they were doing, but they do like to keep an eye on things in the city. If anything's happening, if people are new passing through, they like to know about it. They're more
Let's
hands-on,
just say,
but...
for hypothetically, if hobgoblin, right, Jenny?
Yeah.
If a hobgoblin were to just walk through the gate and hand the guard a year's salary in gold, would that would probably merit being followed, maybe?
Her eyes just go, like, wide as saucers as you say a year's salary. You what?
That's the kind of day I've been having.
She just, like, blinks at Shivers. You... What?
Jasminder comes back with the wine and some cups and just sets it
And
in
then
front of Shivers
this
and
one,
Ciaran.
and then this one slips what had to be about 30 gold into his pocket.
Ruaz, Jasminder, you know, she's not, like, the most, like, pious to the books person, but she's pretty faithful and, very kind of well-mannered. You see her just kind of look between the three of you, and before you can go to pour the wine, just kind of takes a drink from the bottle.
Finally, another sane person who isn't wearing silver armor.
Shepherd, guide us. Okay, I'm not saying that, like, the watch is perfect. I'm not saying the watch is terrible. But they maintain order. Somebody bringing that much money into the city,
Well, he didn't get into the city with it. At least for what that's worth.
That's worth something, I suppose, but... Oh, you guys are gonna bring trouble. She looks like she's, like, starting to worry a little bit.
I'm out of your hair the second I finish this soup, Ross.
Thank you. Our Lady watches over everybody, regardless of their place in society, but we keep each other safe. We've been as established in this city as long as we have because we keep our noses in our own business. We don't mess in the affairs of the Silver Watch, of the Jackals, of anybody else who might cause trouble for us. We're just here to help people.
Speaking of, I thought this was a Jackal city.
It used to be. It's rather recently changed hands. There was a
Oh, great.
bit of an
we still
uproar.
have a bunch of fucking battle lust.
Yep.
I'm so sorry for darkening your door.
No, it's...
Gonna finish my soup, point me towards a tavern, and we're gone.
Everybody's welcome in her halls. I can point you guys to the tavern. She kind of looks over to Jasminder. Are you going to be joining them?
I can show them there.
Okay. If you guys are gonna be okay, I might just go speak with the head priestess here. Look, it's nothing against you folks. We're just cautious. We have to be.
I would hate to bring any kind of hardship upon you. Don't feel bad kicking me out.
Goddess be with you both. And she kind of gives a very respectful bow, and then we'll go find the elderly dwarf woman, who you heard kind of deeper in the temple, talking with some of the followers, reading passages from, I guess, the holy text for Perdita.
Jasminder is going to sneakily check her out as she walks.
She's
We're leaving.
She's a broad-shouldered orcish woman. She doesn't seem to really notice. She's dressed not in very flattering robes. They're, like, holy woman robes. They aren't meant to be very revealing or, like, ostentatious, over the top. She's dressed very plainly. She doesn't have too many, like, ornaments in, like, her hair or jewelry. She's just kind of a plain orcish woman. But
Just like it's like Sifa from Castlevania, where it's like this really pretty lady, but she's wearing like priest clothes.
Yeah, I mean, she's a priestess. And you guys are able to converse amongst yourselves.
No, the second Ruaz is gone. Ciaran turns to Shivers and is like, listen, longer we're here, the more trouble we're going to get these ladies in. Finish your soup.
Alright. Shivers will eat faster.
Don't forget the wine, and once you two are ready, I can take you to the tavern.
By the time she's done saying that, Ciaran has drank all of his soup and downed, if he was poured a glass of wine, he's down the glass. If he has left the bottle, he takes a few slugs from the bottle. He's like, we're ready to go.
Jasminder's going to look at Shivers' bowl. Is it finished?
No, because he was waiting to ask Mr. Raz if this was a good service that you had to pay for or not.
Oh my god.
He doesn't know.
This is completely free, Shivers.
Oh, alright.
So, eat up. Take your time.
Well, I'll go rather fast, because Mr. Ciaran said we've got to leave.
As long as you don't choke.
He'll chug the hell out of the soup as soon as he can. He'll reach for the wine, but when he sniffs it, he does not like the way he shows a bit like I wouldn't say disgust, but he's not cool with the way that it smells. So he just puts it back down.
Ciaran drinks his wine.
Yeah, she was gonna slide it over to Ciaran and refill the cup with water.
He doesn't touch the water.
Shivers will touch the water.
That's for Shivers.
And then, yeah, I guess we could leave.
Yeah, you guys, with your drinks and soup finished, you can make your way towards the nearest tavern, which, Jasminder, isn't too far away. But as you guys go ahead and start heading in that direction, I need a round of perception checks from everybody.
That's a 6.
Perception. That is a 22.
Oh my god.
Okay, so Ciaran, you're the...
That is a 13.
Okay, yeah, Ciaran, you were the only one who, again, the glimpse of your eye, you see a kind of figure shift, and you hear, in your ear, very, very muted. Watch out.
Not even being stealthy this time. First thing he's going to do is look around to see if there's any kind of guard presence.
With a 22, you would see that there doesn't look to be an official guard presence outside the temple. But you do towards kind of where the market district starts. You do see a guard standing watch.
Is he paying attention to Ciaran at all?
Yes. As you look over, he is looking at your group.
Is it crowded?
Not super crowded. Well, actually, no, because it's later in the day, so it would probably be a little bit more crowded, since most folk come out at night after the heat of the day.
Ciaran would like to sneak around, like lose himself in the crowd a little bit to get behind that shift of movement that he saw. Because I'm assuming, did he see like an actual person or just like a shift?
Yeah. So to kind of elaborate, because I was flavoring it a little bit, you would have seen again somebody kind of watching for you guys, and as you guys came out of the temple, they dashed around the corner.
He is going to whisper to Jasminder and Shivers. Listen, I need you to just walk in front of me a little bit, like you're heading towards the tavern. I'm going to be a few steps behind. If we get separated, I'll find you.
To the tavern? How are you gonna find us? You don't know where the tavern is.
I'll find you. Somebody that looks like you, I will see in a crowd. And with that, he's gonna try to get behind that person that he saw ducking into an alley.
Okay.
Or just go into the alley. If they ducked into an alley, go into the alley.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just go into an alley.
Leading first to the tavern.
Okay. As you go first into the alley, Ciaran, I need you to make an athletics check, contested. Against
Athletics check.
Yeah.
That's just a straight roll.
To avoid being grappled. Okay, no, they rolled really badly. I rolled like a natural 5. So you feel hands go around you immediately as you go to turn the corner, but they're not able to kind of get a grip on you. And you are like hyper aware at this moment, and you're able to bat their arms away from getting around you.
And in return, he will try to force them up against the wall, kind of like he had Shivers not too long ago.
Okay.
Only this time he is going to take out his short sword and hold it like to their stomach.
Yeah, you see a hooded figure, mostly human, kind of dusty skin, dusty hair, brown eyes. Their mouth is covered by what looks like a scarf, and as you kind of move to pin the sword up against their throat,
No, their stomach. Their
stomach.
Forearms against the throat, blade against stomach.
Okay. In these close quarters, you do recognize an identifier of the silver watch on their person, as you hear a second set of footsteps in the alley coming up towards you, and I need you to make a Constitution saving throw as you feel somebody slam something against your mouth.
That is a 13.
13. Okay, so you managed to fight off most of the feeling of chloroform as this person is trying to knock you unconscious. And there's going to be another scuffle, and I need you to make another athletics check.
Can it be acrobatics since I'm trying to avoid being grappled?
Yes, I will allow that.
Let's see. That's a natural 20.
That is a natural 20. You are able to bob and weave right out of their grasp.
And he's going to call out, Shivers! Shivers!
Shivers, you see there are two individuals trying to grapple Ciaran. One of them is kind of like has it like they're about to cover his mouth with chloroform again. But you are able to act in this moment.
Jenny.
Jenny?
Jenny.
Jenny.
Genasi.
I guess
Apologies.
just
Apologies.
It's all good.
Shivers. I was coughing. Shivers will Shivers will see this as his bodyguard moment, and he will run over. I'm so sorry. He's gonna draw his sword, like basically immediately, because as far as he's aware, using the sword to kill things was what being a bodyguard is about.
Mm-hmm.
And he will just run up. As he's running up, he'll like yell out to the man like, "Get your hands off Mr. Ciaran!" And then he'll go to hit the guy.
No, go for it. Roll an attack roll.
Ugh.
13, unfortunately, is going to hit. One of the first attackers that Ciaran had first pinned in the alleyway, the mostly human figure, brings up a kind of somewhere between a short sword and a dagger, and your blade cling as they just kind of use it to parry it and use the force of your blow to kind of duck out of the way. And meanwhile, as you make that strike, Ciaran, I need you to make another Constitution saving throw as they try once more with the chloroform to try and shove it over your face.
Ciaran's going to yell while they try to get over his face. Not that one, that one! Because I assume he still has the one guy up against his throat.
Yeah.
Or up against the wall. So he's like, gesture, get the other guy.
Alright, Mr. Ciaran.
That's a 6.
Amazing.
Where's Jasminder throughout all of this?
Jasminder, you can hear the scuffling, that there's something happening. Ciaran, as you start to lose consciousness against your will, you are incapacitated, unconscious. And you collapse on the ground.
Having just watched this happen, can I throw a dagger at whoever this person is?
Yeah. Yeah, you can aim your dagger for the person that just knocked Ciaran unconscious.
Yeah, the chloroforming bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Can I would like to throw a dagger at.
I was gonna say, Jasminder just walks away. She sees these two homeless people fighting the city guard and just walks away.
Yeah, go ahead and roll for an attack. So, it's
That's
a 10.
10.
Yeah, unfortunately,
That's not working.
yeah, they just duck as they go to grab Ciaran's body and start dragging it further down the alleyway as your dagger just kind of ping, ping, ping into the ground. And Shivers.
I guess we're running after them.
Shivers at this point. The two individuals are moving down the alleyway. What are you doing with your sword?
Both of them are moving.
Yes.
He's gonna, whichever one has his hands on Ciaran, he's going for.
Okay, roll for your attack.
He win. That's not gonna.
13, unfortunately, yeah, it doesn't quite make it. Your sword comes just short. As they continue dragging Ciaran away. I will give Jasminder one more attack.
She can run 45 feet.
Okay, yeah, you can keep pace with them then.
Cool. Is that like right up on them? Am I in like shanking distance?
Yeah, I would say that with 45 feet of movement, you can catch up and be in shanking distance.
Cool. I'm gonna stab someone with a short sword because I threw my dagger.
Yeah, go for it.
No, it's a 10.
Oh, unfortunately, yeah, this
Guys?
I am so perplexed about what is happening. I cannot focus.
Yeah, no, and as you guys get further and further into the alley, you see, at the end of the alley where you guys just came from, two more figures appear, and are entering the alleyway behind, flanking you guys.
Do I get another save, or am I just unconscious?
You are just unconscious, I'm sorry. With a 6, you are asleep.
Somebody kick Ciaran, please. 'Cause I'm pretty sure I know what this is, and he needs to be roused.
As you guys see two individuals coming into the alleyway, the two individuals, the one that was carrying Ciaran, they're all going to draw weapons on you guys. And you can see, even in kind of the dim light, they appear to all be very well armed. Their armor seems to be better than the regular variety. What do you guys do? You are outnumbered and outmatched.
Wow.
You better fight to the death for Ciaran. That's man that you just met, like,
That's exactly
an hour
Shivers,
ago.
That part.
Shivers is his bodyguard, and he has to be a good bodyguard.
Jasminder is also going to do the same thing because you're a person. You shouldn't be treated like this.
Please
What
run
the
away! Please run away! I was being
So-
sarcastic!
heck?
There are
Jasminder is
two-
going to fight.
There are two people in the way between Shivers and Ciaran. And Shivers knows that these people are wearing the same armor of the people that took Ciaran.
They are.
These are the bad people.
Not
Not only did they take Mr. Ciaran, but they also lied because their goods and service was free and he had to pay for it. So he knows that these are rotten, dirty thieves. So he is going to run at least one of them at the end of this alley and try
Okay.
to hit him with a great sword.
Go for it. An 18 will hit.
That is 12 slashing damage.
Damn, 12. Very nice. Yeah, you bring your sword to blow, and you, with the sheer size of your sword, it is pretty easy to bring it up and kind of just bash it against their armor. And there's a pretty good clang as you realize that they have metal armor. So it's a little tougher than, like the leathers that Ciaran was wearing, for example. And as you bring your sword down, and you can see that this person staggers back, they kind of like cough up a little bit of blood. There's like a dent in their armor from where you brought your sword down. You see multiple guards come over, dressed in the garb of the Silver Watch. And you can see they both kind of look over the group. The four assailants, the unconscious Ciaran, and you who had just brought your massive greatsword to blows against one of them. They look and they exchange a nod with the one who's holding Ciaran. All right, a lot of you, you're all under arrest.
Miss Jasminder,
Mm-hmm.
what does that mean?
That means we're gonna be detained unfairly, should I add?
Disturbing the peace. And you can see they're already pulling out manacles.
Jasminder
Well-
wants to say so many things, but she's just gonna go ahead, kneel on the ground, hands behind her head.
It's almost like Jasminder saw this before.
Shivers is incredibly defensive. He doesn't know what's going on.
It's definitely a bit of a fight then, as they go for your arms to try and kind of wrench them around behind and manacle your hands together to keep you from moving.
Shivers, this is the part where we stop fighting.
But they're taking Mr. Ciaran.
They're going to take Mr. Ciaran whether you fight or not.
He's probably not going to give up.
It would help
If-
Mr. Ciaran so much more if you just stop.
This child is ride or die.
I was gonna say,
Angry, grumpy ass man for
If-
no reason.
if you do not stand down peacefully, they will beat you unconscious. You are outnumbered now 6-1 with heavily armored guards and fighters.
I mean, Shivers would take them on, but the thing about it is that if Jasmine says that it's better for Ciaran that he stop, then he'll believe that. He will struggle at first and probably get punched a couple of times.
Oh yeah.
But he will eventually relent, I suppose.
And as you relent and the sharp click of the manacles kind of clicks and holds you each in place, you are each taken away. And that is where we're going to pick up for the first session.
Is the roughhousing
Yay.
enough to wake Ciaran up?
Yeah.
Has he been jousted away? Has he been
Yeah.
jostled away?
Jostled
Yes,
away.
you are jostled awake, but you are in chains being led to prison. So, yay, jazz hands.
He has some questions about that.
Jazz hands. You guys are all arrested.
You got my sweet, innocent girl who just wants to provide for the need arrested.
You could have left at any time.
Why would she do that? She's nice.
We
sure,
love
for
her
sure.
for it so
Nice.
much.
Yeah, first of all,